Arid and semi-arid lands of sub-Saharan Africa have been characterized by numerous social, economic and ecological challenges such as changing climate conditions, changing land cover that has resulted from increased pastoralism and non-pastoralism activities, marginalization in the national development agenda and social conflicts over natural resources such as food, water and pasture. The domination of the ecosystems with invasive species has worsened the situation. The green, lush, thorny vegetation dots the landscape of these arid and semi-arid regions in parts of Turkana, Baringo and West Pokot counties in Kenya. Northern Kenya is expansively covered by this vegetation. This is Prosopis Juliflora. It belongs to the Fabaceae family and thrives in sandy, rocky, poor and saline soils with an altitude range of 300 to 1900 meters above sea level. Prosopis Juliflora has deep taproots which enable it to access subsurface waters. According to a report by Kenya Forest Research Institute, the plant was introduced in Kenya from South America in the 1970s to rehabilitate arid and semi-arid areas because it's drought resilient, grows fast and can withstand floods.
When the tree was introduced here, it had all the good potentiality about it, especially in reversing land degradation in the drylands. So within the same period again, the same species again was introduced in Ebura, that's in the northeastern, within the irrigation scheme, which I happen to have carried out a study there way before some time back when the benefits of Prosopis were really being discussed. Like for example, it's a known fact that wherever Prosopis grows, the soil conditions change to be more favorable, the soil become a bit more fertile. So those are some things which have been known.
Popularly referred to as Madenge tree in Kenya, locals in Turkana community refer to it as Etirai, while their neighbors, Pokots, refer to it as Kediamu, a term associated to the impact of the plant on animal stomach. Regions that were once bare are now covered by thickets of this fast-spreading wonder tree that was highly regarded by some locals in Turkana community as it was an alternative pasture source.
Our place, Kerio, was once like a desert. It had no trees. It had bare land. But when Prosopis was introduced in our place, the whole place is almost green. Green everywhere. In the lake, in the rivers, all the fields are covered by Prosopis.
Mimi naona Etirai inanisaidia kwa sababu mimi ni mfugaji. Hata kwa upande ya mifugo inasaidia. Hata kwa upande ya majengo inasaidia. Sioni affection mbaya. Tunatumia maposti, pitos na mbegu pia. Hizi mifugo vinakula. Hata ng'ombe inatafuna. Hata hii mbuzi, makondo wanatafuna. Hata funda. Sasa sioni ubaya. Na hata ukienda sehemu za kuelekea Kalemunyang along this way. Tulo karibu Lorugumu bande hii. Unapata hii kitu ndio watu wanafuka naye mbuzi. Kwa sababu kwa mbuzi, hiyo wakati hiyo kitu inaiva matunda, mbuzi inafurahia. Kama hata kuna uharibifu, ni wakati tu mbuzi hiyo kamekula kwa muda, inaanza kuharibu meno.
Inashika mchanga, wakati hata floods inakuja hata and so forth, mchanga inakuwa sigmized. Si ile sasa ina flop, mchanga inatoka kabisa alafu yanaanguka.
But some years down the line, the plant is also losing its popularity due to its invasiveness and devastating effects on the ecosystem and social economy. Some community members here say the Prosopis Juliflora is not useful anymore.
Maana hata punda akikula wakati mvua imenyesha, wakati mvua inanyesha, wakati mvua imenyeshea inamaliza punda. Si unaona hata pale iko punda ambaye kupia hapo juzi tu, hata tukiangalia iko scalp. Na mbuzi pia inamaliza hii miti ikikula. Inafurisha.
Mipa yake ni hatari sana. Iko nini? Ako na sumu. Akikudunga kidogo unakonjeka, pati upone basi ukupe.
Meshikana hivi mpaka kila mnyama, kile kitu kibaya inaweza kudevelop pale iwe tena hatari kwa sisi wanadamu ama kwa mifugo. Kama hapa mahali mimi nakoishi, mpaka python ikawa sasa inakutana mbuzi, unajua sasa inatembea ikiingia ndani. Python ikawa sasa inatafuna mbuzi yetu.
This tree has gone up to interior of the lake. Fishing nowadays is just a problem.
The plant has had negative effects on human health. Esther Ekiru from Chukultom village in Turkana Central is among those feeling the pinch of the plant after being pricked by its thorn.
Kama sindano nadungu, kama nadungu hapa kwa ndole, ni sumu. Nikudungu kama mkono, kama mguu napura.
Ni baya sana. Angalia hiyo mguu yangu. Angalia hapa. Hapa etira. Hii nachoma hapa. Hiyo ni baya sana. Afadhali hiyo miti natoa yote kwa Turkana.
Na sio mzuri mahali hii madhenge inadunga, ina hiyo mguu ya binadamu hiyo inaweza katwa. Iko mtoto mmoja amechoma macho mpaka hata macho imeng'olewa kwa hii kijiji ya Sarmait wapi.
The plant has also had direct and indirect negative effects on man and environment, such as increasing water and food insecurity through colonization of indigenous species, besides inhibiting agricultural activities.
Madhenge iligrow mingi, ika displace hizi mimea zingine. Sasa hii hapa hivi hakuna shamba. Hii area yote ilikuwa shamba. Displace kama wakulima wengi wamekosa place ya kulima kwa sababu ya madhenge.
Mmea huu umetatiza uwepo wa zile aina tofauti za miti kama acacia, ambazo kwa muda mwingi sana, kwa miaka mingi sana, jamii za wafugaji wa pande huu wa West Pokot pamoja na Turkana wamekuwa wakitegemea wakati wa kiangazi kukula yale matunda na zile products za hiyo miti.
As you can see, this environment, we are having plenty of Prosopis Juliflora and very few indigenous trees which are of benefit to the pastoralist in this county. This green vegetation you are seeing here, they are not eaten by livestock. So it's not beneficial to the pastoralist, mostly. But the Acacia totilis, this one tree which you are seeing here, is actually of great benefit to the people of this county, because when there's drought, our people usually cut one branch of it, falls down, and then the goat graze on it because it's forage. But goats cannot graze on Prosopis Juliflora. And it means if Prosopis colonizes the entire of this county, it means the main socio-economic activity of people in this county is at stake. It's a threat to the livelihood of the people in this county.
From our study also, when we were doing the Prosopis, we have documented about 11 different indigenous tree species that have actually been suppressed in terms of their growth and even their dominance anymore in this Turkana County area. So we do have the results, and for sure the impact is there. It's very clear that Prosopis is completely outcompeting other species, indigenous species. Actually, the only one which seems to be standing up to Prosopis is the Acacia totilis, and to some extent what he has just mentioned, Salvadora persica.
The devastating effect of Prosopis Juliflora pods, which are used as fodder for animals, saw some residents of Baringo County in Kenya go to court to seek for its eradication on grounds that it had become a threat to their livestock.
Mbuzi inakula, baadaye inamaliza mbuzi meno.
Kwa mnyama inaweza maliza mnyama meno, na baada ya meno hiyo mnyama itahangaika na itafifia hivyo hivyo.
Upande wa mifugo napenda kula matunda yake sana. Na kukula hii matunda yake sana, shida yake hasa pia huwa inashika meno ya mbuzi na kumaliza meno ya mbuzi kabisa mpaka inakuwa kabisa kibokoyo. sasa ambayo ni mashangao kwa sisi, mimea ambayo inakuja kumaliza kama miraa. Sasa hiyo ni kama miraa ya mbuzi ambayo imekuja kumaliza meno za wanyama wetu. Alafu pia kwa wanadamu pia wameanza kutafuna pia, na hiyo ni hali ya ukame tu. Watu unapata mtu anakula hiyo kitu kwamba ni tamu, na baadaye unapata anaumia jino.
In response to the growing negative impact, the local community has embarked on management strategies such as uprooting, burning, among others, without much success.
The potential in reducing this particular species is in the utilization capacity. Kama wanaweza saidiwa na watafiti ili wajue vile huu mmea unaweza tumika kwa kulisha ng'ombe ama unaweza tumika kwa njia zingine zozote, hiyo ndio kitu itasaidia kupunguza huu mmea.
Watu wanajaribu kukata lakini haisikii. Unaona sahi hata angalia pale kwa barabara hapo penye imekatwa, ingine bado inamea tu namna. Ama hiyo haiwezi kuondoka. Unajaribu kuchoma na miti moto hakuna.
As the sheep and goats ingest the Prosopis pods, they will go elsewhere and release the droppings, and as a result it enhances the germination of Prosopis Juliflora in various areas, and specifically when it goes to a wetland along River Takwel, along River Tarach, it germinates very fast and colonizes quite a good chunk of rangeland in Turkana County.
Although there's no national policy on the management of Prosopis Juliflora, the county governments of Turkana and West Pokot have come up with policies and strategies to mitigate against the invasion of this plant, but with little success.
Kwa sababu hii miti imekuwa shida kule Baringo, imekuwa shida kule Turkana na mahali pengine ambapo hii mmea imekuwa, kuna vile control, na tungependa pia kusoma kutoka kwa wao, na njia moja ni kuuliza wale wamekuwa wakicontrol hii mmea mahali popote kwamba watu saidie consensitize wananchi namna ya kucontrol hii. Any NGO, any organization na wale wengine wote wenye wamehusika, sensitization ya maana sana. Kuna policy ilikuwa inaendelea kuwa developed ambayo itasaidia control hii invasive crops ama shrubs ama trees, sema tu shrubs, na pia kama wanyama wengine ama vile vidudu wengine kama vile locust. Kwa hivyo nafikiri hiyo policy itatusaidia control hizo invasive crops na even insects.
What we've done as Turkana County, since we identified this as an issue, there is a ban on commercial charcoal production in this Kenya. There's a ban. But as Turkana County, because Prosopis is a concern to us and it's spreading very fast, we've allowed our people to produce charcoal commercially from Prosopis Juliflora. That is one of the policy that we've agreed. We've sensitized our people, we've gone to the media, and we've permitted our people to produce charcoal from Prosopis Juliflora, and avoiding any person who is actually cutting indigenous trees in this county. We usually arrest them and take them to court. We've allowed them, without any permitting nowadays, to harvest and utilize Prosopis as a way of reducing its further spread. That is not the best way of managing Prosopis. More scientific studies needs to be done, and that's why we really appreciate Masinde Muliro University for coming in through this program of Brescia. which is looking at how water security and food security can be addressed in this county. The other aspect is we've also developed our Turkana County Climate Change Policy. We also have Turkana County Climate Change Act, which was actually passed by the County Assembly last year in October and published by the government printers. We also have Turkana County Climate Change Fund Regulation. In this fund, Turkana County has committed towards climate actions, which is a global call. We've committed 2% of our development budget to climate change programs. Basically, climate change mitigation and adaptation in this county.
Going to quickly make a small policy.
Concerted efforts by the government and non-state actors have seen farmers get trainings on how to manage the invasive plant as part of the bigger approach to eliminate it. It's for these reasons that building research capacity for sustainable water and food security in sub-Saharan Africa, Brescia undertook various research activities in the drylands of sub-Saharan Africa with the aim of exploring the challenges and opportunities to ensure the regions are self-sustaining and focused on improving access to food and water for the most vulnerable in the drylands of Africa. Under Brescia, a team of researchers from Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, Kenya, led by late Professor John Obiri, Caleb Mwendwa, Dr. Namenya Daniel Naburi, and Dr. Edward Mugalavai, together with lead Malawi, led by Professor Shostine, developed interest to capture the various aspects on the impact of Prosopis Juliflora plant species on water and food security that has been designated as invasive in both Kenya and Malawi.
Come straight to why this particular research we are carrying it out in Turkana. We identified Prosopis, or Prosopis has been identified as a species of interest. In a lot of literature, actually, it's referred to as an invasive species. Now, those are terminologies which have been coined by scientists, and that's why we are here as researchers. As usual in research, we try to see whether that is true or not. Is it invasive or not invasive? That is part of what we do in research. Either we accept a hypothesis or we actually disagree with it.
Kutokana na utafiti wetu tuliweza kufahamu kwamba kweli namna ambavyo mvua pamoja na joto, kiwango cha joto zinavyoendelea katika sehemu hii ya West Pokot kumeweza kuwa na mabadiliko makubwa tangu miaka ya 80 hadi sasa. Na katika utafiti wetu huu mambo makubwa haswa ambayo tumeweza kuyafahamu kutokana na yale ambayo tulikuwa tunashughulikia ni kwamba kiwango cha joto kimepanda na pia kiwango cha mvua kimeweza kupanda kutokana na vile ambavyo joto limekuwa likibadilika. Na kutokana na haya unapata kwamba mvua ambayo tumeweza kupata kwa miaka 10 kila baada ya miaka 10 ukipiga hiyo hesabu unapata kwamba mvua imeweza kuongezeka katika eneo hili, na mvua inapoongezeka haiji yani haispread kwa muda au kwa miezi yale ambayo tumekuwa tukitarajia hapo nyuma kupata mvua. Lakini kwa kiwango kikubwa ukifanya hesabu kuanzia mwaka 80 hadi mwaka wa 2020 unapata kwamba kiwango cha mvua kimekuwa kikiongezeka.
Brescia was a 4-year UCRI Global Challenges Research Fund GCRF program which aimed at developing and strengthening research capacity and capabilities in institutions in Malawi, Kenya, and Ghana to carry out impactful research that leads to positive policy and practice change for sustainable water and food security to benefit 270 million people living in the sub-Saharan Africa drylands. In Kenya, Prosopis Juliflora was declared a noxious weed in 2008 under the Suppression of Noxious Weeds Act, Cap 325. Under this act, the Minister of Agriculture can compel landowners who have such declared noxious weeds growing on their land to remove or have it otherwise removed. Unfortunately, Most of the drylands or arid and semi-arid lands in Kenya are communally owned, and no individual person or the community can be held responsible under the Act. In some parts of sub-Saharan Africa, Chikawa and Palombe districts, Lake Chiwa, Malawi, where Brazier Project also carried out the study, what is seen as a curse in Kenya seems to be a blessing, a classic case of the tale of two stories. In Malawi, the tale of Prosopis is different. The tree is a blessing in disguise. It supports many social-economic activities ranging from firewood for household use and for selling to animal feed. Swangoma area in Palombe district is a fishing community, and fish smoking is one of the major fish processing activities that creates high demand for firewood. This has led to deforestation in the area, and Prosopis tree provides for the much-needed fuel for smoked fish business. It is actually claimed that fish smoked from Prosopis firewood is tasty and appetizing, making Prosopis the most favorite fish smoking firewood, and at the same time protecting the little reserve of other tree species in the area.
Tikauchansomba yatu imaoneka yabuno kwambiri ya brown yooneka bwino tikafika nawo pansika.
When we smoke fish using Prosopis firewood, the fish looks so appetizing. It turns brown that when we get to the markets with the fish, customers flock to buy, and it finishes before you know. This tree has improved livelihoods of people in this area. Some have even paid the school fees for their children.
Of course, excessive use of the tree has highly prevented it from spreading. It is actually becoming an endangered species, and communities are now protecting the plots where Prosopis is growing. In Chikwakwa, another district in Malawi, the tale is not so different, although the trees have covered a lot of land here, leading to some negative effects like blocking traffic view and invading idle land. The tree is seen to have more benefits than harm. Just as in Palombe, the tree is used for various social-economic benefits such as windbreak, firewood for brickmaking, live fencing, livestock feed, shelter and soil erosion control. The Prosopis forest is very thick here than Swangoma simply because the communities have diverse livelihood options compared to Swangoma, whose livelihood mainly depends on natural resources. Despite this difference, any thoughts of having it removed can make you an enemy of the communities in Palombe and Chikwakwa. Under Brazier Project, the following recommendations were made. 1. The government and universities' investment in research and development on Prosopis and other invasive species in the drylands. 2. Increase, promote, and enhance local and national capacities to utilize the plant for numerous uses to benefit the affected communities. 3. Introduce other ecological friendly species that are adaptive to the dryland ecosystems, especially improved indigenous species. 4. Put in place proper action-oriented policies and laws at the county and national levels towards management, control and utilization of Prosopis Juliflora plant. 5. Put in place national, county and community Prosopis Juliflora management and control action plan with clear funding and capacity building frameworks. The Kenya Forest Research Institute has been advising the affected communities to tap the benefits from the invasive tree for economic gains.